Barnaby, Joyce, let me ask you about the coal mine, or the potential coal mine in your own backyard. You've been very outspoken about this, understandably so. What have you heard since this sort of shot to the front page of the newspapers? Is your understanding that this is likely to go ahead? It's obviously a state government decision from here. What are you hearing?
Well, as you say, it's a state government decision from here. There's basically 17 steps to the approval, only one of which is pertinent to the Commonwealth, and that is predominantly the investigation of hydrological issues and relying on information from the Independent Expert Scientific Committee. Now, what that actually means is that it doesn't go to Cabinet at federal level. It's a decision that remains with the remit of Greg Hunt, and I think that Greg Hunt, for the information that he was given, has done the best that we can ask for, and he has maintained that he will continue to be in negotiations and discussions about the issues, and if further information comes to light, he will act on further information. And that's, if he made any other decision, he'd be off to court. But I've always said, back from 2009, long before I was ever even a shadow minister, that I don't support a coal mine in this area. It's not that I'm against coal mining, I'm not. It's vital for our nation's economy, but there's got to be certain areas where you think that this, like, you know, why don't we have oil rigs on the Great Barrier Reef? Because you're not allowed to. There are certain areas of Australia which I think are above and beyond. They have a value of an asset that goes over tens of thousands of years. But I think one of my greatest allies now, to be honest, Peter, is a thing called economics. The spot price of coal is about $60 a tonne. They sold a coal mine in North Queensland the other day for $1. I'm sure there's people vastly smarter than me back in China saying, why are we about to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into something that we could buy a coal mine? If we really want one, we could buy one. Shenhua itself is now a net coal exporter, just slightly a net coal exporter from China, and I'm sure people are asking the question, so it's not just the money that they have to invest, they've also got to have the contingent liability of reclamation costs that sit with this mine, and economics will soon say, look, I'm sure, you know, Peabody's would love to have a yarn to you. There's a lot of other people with coal mines who'd love to have a yarn to you. I know there's other coal miners who say, look, we're happy to for you to become a joint venture partner with us in a coal mine. And Shenhua itself will be saying, well, we need to support mining workers in China before we start investing at a spot price of $60 a tonne in Australia. And so economics, I think, is going to be a big player in this debate from this point forward.
Minister, can I clarify, are you still maintaining your opposition to the Shenhua coal mine on the basis of being a local member and also being the Federal Minister for Agriculture?
Well, the Federal Minister for Agriculture would have an interest in agricultural land. I think that is something that's not unusual. And I don't think anybody, and I was there yesterday, I don't think anybody would suggest anything else than that the land that is around that area is the best agricultural land in Australia, and therefore it is also in my electorate. So, but the issue, of course, is that there is billions of dollars of produce a year that comes out of that Liverpool Plains area. So this is also a vitally important economic asset to Australia. I am an absolute supporter of coal mines. Gosh knows we've got enough of them in the Hunter Valley. There's big precincts in Queensland that we're trying to open up. There's other areas of coal mining that are so important to this nation and must continue on. But
so what can you do to make that point to the New South Wales government?
Prime agricultural land is a core plank of the National Party's policy position. I've written a letter to the Premier. I've had discussions with senior party members in the New South Wales government about this issue. It's not new. We've been talking about it since 2009 when I was invited up to that area to go and inspect the issues pertinent to this. And this issue is now back in the remit of a state government. And because the state government gets the royalties, the state government gets the cheque if they approve the mine, the state government owns the coal, and it's the state government's decision.
Can I ask you about the political impact of these types of decisions? The National Party has often been under threat in recent years, more by the Greens than by Country Labor. And we saw that at the New South Wales state election where the Greens took a seat off the Nationals in northern New South Wales. How worried are you about the political impact of these decisions and protest groups and protest political parties like the Greens being able to use these issues to take seats off the National Party?
No, we don't react to the Greens. We react to what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad, and what's pertinent. Also with an overarching economic objective that we've got to pay our way. That means we don't have complete rule outs. The Greens have complete rule outs. They just don't believe in coal mining. They never suggest to us how they're actually going to balance the books after they get rid of it. And they don't believe in coal seam gas. They don't believe that a farmer has the right to knock down trees on their place. They don't believe in many instances in a lot of types of farming. They're not really keen on feedlots. They don't believe in poultry, in caged eggs. They don't believe in pork. Ultimately, the Greens don't really believe in civilisation, but what they do believe in is having senators in the centre of every major capital city. And that is how much affection they have for country areas. If they really want to show their affection for country areas, get one of their senators, maybe Senator Waters, and she can move out of Brisbane and move into Longreach, like I was down in St George. Or maybe they can get one of them to move out of Sydney and move into Dubbo. But of course they don't. They're very interested in the political furor. They're very interested in creating chaos. But they're not actually going to put their money where their mouth is and move to a regional area and live where I live.